Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy II for the Nintendo Famicom system. Let's continue to explore the cave east of Mysidia, looking for that crystal rod. And hey, it's our good friend the Rios monster that can turn us into stone, so I guess it's like a Medusa. So, it's a good thing Fess has been working on his Asuna spell to unpetrify any of our characters that may get turned into stone. So, yep, there was a method for the madness here, so we got that Asuna up to level 6, so we can basically cure every status ailment outside of battle with that. And the only one that we can't cure inside of battle right now is KO, but we have the life spell for that. But like I said, we still want to get 2 more levels for it, just for, you know, extra protection. You know, in case one of the levels doesn't go through, one of the castings doesn't go through, so always pays to be extra cautious. So, like I said, besides, we still want to build up Fess's his spirit. So his spirit is kind of lacking, especially when we compare to Maxine's intelligence. Normally, spirit goes up faster than intelligence, but for some reason, probably because, you know, all Maxine is doing is casting spells, she's got a lot of intelligence, so hey, we got these red souls and yellow souls again, good enemies for building up our magic defense, because they will be casting a whole bunch of spells at us. Not going to do a lot of damage with those spells, but mainly going to be taking up a bunch of our time. Because, you know, the spells are cast on each character individually. So, but that's okay. We're building up that magic defense and, you know, magic evasion, so hey, we'll take it, so. Yeah, the yellow souls are just like the red souls. They'll be casting multiple spells on us, but, you know, they're a little bit weaker, so. Too bad Booker couldn't take care of that one, so. But, oh well. At least it's not taking as long to take care of them as it did back in Kashuan Keep. So, yeah, that was a long battle. So, we don't have to coach them anymore, so. But that magic evasion and magic defense, much like evasion, the game doesn't show you, you know, when it increases. You just have to kind of look at your status screen to see it. But Maxine getting some more MP there. Both her and Fess at the same time ran out of MP, so. Like I said, Maxine don't have to worry about ethers much longer, because she'll, at the end of this dungeon, she will end up getting that, whatchamacallit, the Osmo spell. Then she can just drain MP from enemies. So, assuming they are not undead. Remember, the undead have that property that basically it reverses stuff. Healing spells hurt them, drain spells hurt you. And that includes both hit point and magic point draining stuff, so. Avoid undead, using drain attacks on undead. So, that includes the blood sword. So, I probably won't even be using the blood sword in this game. Like I said, it makes the game so much easier, especially, like I said, bosses with a lot of hit points. Like I said, because even though it doesn't have any attack power, because it takes off, you know, 1/16 of max hit points per hit, it basically just, like I said, cuts through enemies, so. And we're cutting through these soul monsters there. Fess can take out the yellow, and Booker and Layla can team up to take out the red one. So, if only we were this powerful and had this potent weaponry back when we first fought the Red Soul. You theoretically could. There's a way that you can kind of scum the game, save scum the game, to reach Mysidia earlier, if you have the money, like say you farmed a bunch of books from those ogre mages and wizards and magicians north of Finn, and got a whole bunch of money, what you could have theoretically done is you walk toward Mysidia, and then you basically save the game every few steps. And the game kind of knows, it runs on, you know, like an encounter, you know, chart. So like you get to a point where, you know, if you're saving every step, you'll know when, you know, the next step you're going to take is going to be an encounter. So then you just like save there, and rather than take that next step, you turn off the game, turn the game back on, and then that resets the encounter number, and then you can take a few more steps that way, and then you can slowly make your way toward Mysidia without running into any of the encounters that would, you know, wipe your party out. And then that way, you know, you can use the gold to, say, buy a strong axe or a strong weapon there. You know, I think they had bows, axes, and spears for sale in Mysidia. So you can buy one of them, and that stronger weapon will be able to cut through the, you know, the Red Soul's defense. You know, a spear would be nice because Gordon comes equipped with spears. If you were doing like how I'm doing here and building up, you know, bow levels, you know, a bow would work. So we finally got a door, the middle door here, that actually has treasure in it. Woohoo! Not necessarily good treasure. Like I said, the Phoenix Down is good. But this cave was kind of the opposite of the Finn Castle basement, where Finn Castle basement had a bunch of good treasure at the bottom and lousy treasure on the top floors. This is opposite. You know, we have a bunch of good treasure at the beginning, and then we have a bunch of lousy treasure at the bottom. So, other than the crystal rod, which is needed to advance the plot, and then the Osmos Tome, you know, everything else is, yeah, pretty stinky. So, but oh well, you can't win them all. So, and I thought maybe I could potentially take out these yellow jellies with Scourge, but I totally forgot that they absorb poison. So, yeah, but that's okay. We'll take them out with something else here. So, I was just trying to work the Scourge because one of the few spells I still want to try to get to level 6. We got the Blizzard and the Fire there already. Of course, they're the most spells with the most characters that have enemies that have weaknesses to them, so of course they're going to be the most used. Problem with those yellow things, they bring down the encounter rate of the Red Souls there. So we're not getting as many points as we should be getting for, you know, casting spells and attacking. So yeah, I've bemoaned it in other videos. It stinks that they don't do like an average. All you have to do is have like one little weak enemy, and it brings down the encounter level of all the tougher enemies. So. Square, I know I gave a suggestion for the last one, you know, hey, if you remake Final Fantasy 1 again, make it so you can, you know, have different genders for the classes. You know, so there's my other critique, I guess. If you're gonna remake this game again, make it so that the enemies are average. So you add up all the enemies and then divide by how many enemies there are, and that's the encounter level. Yeah, it doesn't seem fair that you can have like 7 level 8 enemies and then have 1 level 1 enemy, and they're like, oh, level 1 encounter. It's like, does that one guy bring it down so much? Well, maybe they're going by that old, what's that old saying? Chain is only as strong as its weakest link. But that seems a little unfair in this game, but I guess that's one way they can, you know, pad the game out and force you to fight more, because it just means that that encounter is weak and ain't gonna do anything for you. So, wow, this is the first time we've gotten to an encounter in one of these little tiny rooms. Normally they're so tiny that, well, they're always so tiny that you don't usually run into an encounter in them because you're in them for so short a time period. But this time we get to run into our Rios friends. And keep going, keep going. Woohoo! Breath 6 was unaffected for everybody. Like I said, we know it wouldn't be effective against Fess because he has that the ribbon to protect against that element, but other characters, though, could be turned to stone by that, and we don't like that. Give Fess a chance, of course, to work on his Asuna spell, but he's finally used one of his ethers so he can de-equip a sword, if his wing sword, if needed to. So, good thing we will get a new sword in the next dungeon, and then we'll start getting, I think, a whole bunch of swords thrown at us. Yeah, in the Mysidia Tower, they start throwing swords at us left and right. You can start getting those elemental swords. We also get a bunch of elemental armors, so we're gonna have to empty our inventory out a little bit there. So it's weird, speaking of inventory, how they don't, you don't lose the black mask or the white mask. Even though you're supposed to place it on the statue and place it on the doppelganger, they still clog up your inventory. So there is one item that we can get rid of eventually later on. There is one key item that you can give to a character who leaves your party, and you can get rid of it. But I will not be doing that. It just seems kind of... well, it doesn't fit with the story, so... but I'll point that out when we get to there. It won't be for a long, long, long time. So... but... alright. We are finally at the final level of this cave. And it is a doozy. And it is filled with lousy treasure. So... and we'll see that in just a little bit here, so... but I'm gonna have to I'm just throwing stuff on characters to free up some inventory space. Because as you can see, we're pretty full here, so... now, just in case we get amnesia'd. Okay, we get a Drain Tome. Another black magic spell, but nah, not really useful. So, by the time that you build it up to start draining hit points, you might as well just use your White Mage's Cure. So these ghosts, pretty evil enemies. They have a lot of the evil spells. It stinks that we got ambushed by them. I guess the worst spell that they have is the that Scourge spell, Scourge 16. So you might want to be using like gold armor, gold shield, gold cuirass. Those, of course, resist the poison element. Sadly, because Booker was cursed there, he's not being able to take them out in one hit. So, get Layla back on her feet here, and hope that they do not target her with that Scourge 16 spell again. I guess the good thing about being targeted by that Scourge 16 spell then, and being brought back to life with such low hit points, is she probably should get some stamina and hit points. But hit points really don't do too much for her, because like I said, she's in the back row, not really getting targeted much by stuff, so even though we'd like to build up stats, and we normally delay a lot of our encounters, this one, because they have such evil spells, I'm just going to try to get rid of them as soon as possible. So yeah, Maxine, just cast that fire spell. Get rid of these guys ASAP. And see, the Asuna spell is paying off there. We're able to cure a bunch of status ailments. Got rid of that curse, and we managed to get that life through. So unfortunately, Layla got stunned, or else she'd be able to take out another one of those ghosts. So, although it's weird, they look like skeletons. So, I guess they didn't want to use one of those soul monsters, though, to represent a ghost, although it would be more fitting, like, art-wise. But I guess then you would think that it's a soul monster, and you wouldn't think it had that, the undead weakness to you know, the fire. You'd be like, oh, it's a soul monster. Better not hit it with any magic. But magic, as you can see, is one of the best ways to get rid of these guys. So that fire just rips right through them. So, and thunder too, if you just want to work the thunder spell. Man, Maxine's gonna have to use another ether. We got this is a pretty big floor. So Layla got us down on hit points. So Fess might have to use another ether too, using all these cures. So, but I guess in a pinch, you can also maybe use that elixir. So, or maybe Maxine might get lucky and have one of those changers use the swap spell on her, and that would give her, I think, 40 magic points. I think they start off with 40 magic points. So, but of course, remember, whenever you want something to happen, it's not going to happen. So, I'm gonna have to retarget my stuff again, because I want to make sure that I get rid of that brain in the front, so I can start targeting future, like the parasites in future rounds. So, wasn't sure about Fess if he would be able to finish them off. So, better safe than sorry. Let Layla take it out. So, but once again using that strategy. So, get a little bit of work on our haste spell a little bit here. So, like I said, we'll delay this battle a little bit here. Get some good stats or weapons and stuff. So, yeah, we've been ignoring our haste and berserk spell. So, yeah, this is also a way I was hoping that I could prolong the amount of time, so I wouldn't have to necessarily use another ether for Maxine. I was hoping I wouldn't get into a lot of encounters, and I'd be able to get to that Osmo spell. But it doesn't work out, so oh well. Like I said, money isn't that bad, so we could always spend money on ethers. Not a problem. It's not like there's much more to really spend the stuff on. I guess our big purchases eventually by endgame will be on elixirs. Because elixirs, unlike the cottages, while the cottages work on everybody and they can only be used in the overworld. So once you're in the middle of a dungeon, yeah, you can use them there. So just use your portable in the elixir. They will be really, really important in Final Fantasy III. This game has a very long final dungeon, but it's nothing compared to the final dungeon in Final Fantasy III, which is super, super long. And unlike future Final Fantasies like the Super Nintendo versions, Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6, they don't put save points in dungeons. So basically, once you enter a final dungeon, you know, where you saw that in Temple of Fiends, in Final Fantasy 1, and we'll see that in this Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 3, once you hit the final dungeon, you gotta make your way through it in one go. There's no saving. So, I guess that was a complaint that maybe people had about the games, because once you watch, you know, Final Fantasy 4 comes out on the Super Nintendo, all the future Final Fantasies, they all have dungeons, save points within dungeons, where you can use, you know, a tent or a cottage or an item to heal yourself up. So, but we do not have that luxury here. We have to basically use the portable in the elixir. So, yeah, Fess will heal people up, and then he'll use those elixirs to heal himself up. So, yeah, most of the, with the exception of Min Wu, all the guest characters that you get tend to be physical fighters. So that's why it's important to build up your own, you know, white mage. In our case, we're using Fess. So, you could, like I said, if you want, build up the extra characters as, you know, white mages, but, you know, because they rotate in and out and leave, you know, it wouldn't really help you all that much. So, but look, Maxine got some intellect, nice. And once again, we got another one of these hidden passages here at the top where the grass is. We go in there, and we grab the mini spell, another one of those instant death spells. And we got a whole bunch of lousy treasure here. Yeah, we got another soul fight. So, of course, we hit the 20-minute mark. So I was like, I hope I don't run into any more enemies here, but I want to get these 4 treasure chests before I call this video, call an end to this video. So, whatchamacallit, gotta get into another fight here. So, but it's a good fight. Like I said, it's one of the few fights that is going to help really, really build up our magic evasion and magic defense. So, I'm thinking of the Palamecia trilogy. It's kind of a young adult novel, and it's like kind of takes place in London, but it's like an alternate Earth where there's, you know, magic and genies and stuff, and one of the protagonists, the girl in the books, she's special because like magic doesn't work on her. Like a wizard casts a spell on her and it doesn't work, so she takes the wizard to court. You know, she loses her case because they're like, well, the wizard can't cast that spell on you because you don't bear any of the marks of the spell that you know affected her friend. But anyway, you know, Palamecia, the one djinn who was summoned by the other protagonist, kind of like to be his like servant. He kind of explains, you know, like, hey, well, when everybody uses magic, you know, eventually like people start building immunity to magic, you know, and that's basically how, you know, she ends up, you know, getting that immunity. And you know, there's other people who have immunity too. They actually form like a little like a group, you know, of people, because the you know, the wizards, because they're, you know, have magic and are the most powerful, they kind of rule society, you know. And then the common folks, you know, they're just, you know, like, even if that girl probably was like affected by the spell, that she probably would have lost the court case anyway, because people were just like, no, don't take them to court, you know, like it's all corrupt, you know, it's all in favor of the wizards and stuff, you know, because they have all the power. But that's, you know, basically how Palamecia like explains how like different civilizations collapsed over time. You know, it was always the same thing. History repeats. You know, the wizards would be in charge, and they would, you know, subdue the common folks. But then, you know, over time, the common folks built up resistance to magic because, you know, it was just floating in the air so much. And then, of course, then the common folks would rebel and throw off the chains of the wizards, and then a new society would rise up. So all these all these treasure chests right here, they all contain a single simple potion. So yeah, so I'm just gonna grab them, use the potion. That's why I have it right up there, so it appears in the first slot in the inventory. And then end the video once I get that last potion. So hopefully, in our next video, we will come back and we're able to find some better treasure and finally complete this cave. Will we? Well, come back in our next episode to find the answer to that. Take care, have a good one. Thanks for following along. Bye.